Good afternoon and welcome.
Hello. Hello.
We are pleased there are more of you. As in this way, there is more of us. And we are sure that you will find what you are looking for, as you always do.
Okay, so I want to ask a question regarding what you said to us before about everyone having this God-given gift, and it's our choice to use it or even our choice to not. But what would you say to someone who doesn't know what that gift is, or just doesn't feel aware of what like their unique gift is in this world? Like, do you have any advice for someone like that?
Yes. We would say there is no one like that. And the example that you are using is not that the being does not know what their gift is. It's just that they do not see the value in their gift and believe that the gift that they have been given is somehow less important or not useful or not exciting, or that they do not have access to it. You all know what your gifts are when you stop blocking yourselves from what your gifts are. And when you find them, they are as obvious to you as your hands. They are not lost or unknown or hidden. Your gift is who you are. As soon as you stop judging or trying to fix or change, your actions will reflect who you are, and your gift will flow through you. There's not one gift. The being is the gift. Your work, if there was work, would be to get out of the way. It is a paradox that as you are remembering who you are also forgetting. Everything else. And so there are two shortcuts. One is remembering who you are, and the other is forgetting everything else. It is likely that your gift is hidden in what you fear the most about yourself. For it could only be fear that is keeping you from it. So stepping into your fear may also be a shortcut.
I have a personal type of question, and I wanted to acknowledge my frustration when I realized I was connecting to Archangel Michael when I thought I was connecting to Arcturians. And I've seen where I can love myself deeper and how this serves. But can you speak on expectations for us?
Yes, first, we would like to underline that there are no personal questions, for it is impossible for anything to be personal. Consciousness is one, and you adopting anything that flows through consciousness as your own or personal or separate from the rest of the all simply makes things more difficult for you. And if you were to reframe your experiences and queries as part of the whole and all that is, choosing to have that experience, you will have relief faster. As to your query about connections, we would also like to remind you that there is no difference between the Arcturians or Archangel Michael. They are one and the same, as are you, as are we. And you will not get something or information that is different from the information that you are seeking, no matter the source, as there is only one source. And so, if you are dissatisfied, but why would you be, with the information that is coming to you or the experience that is coming to you, then you may seek a different experience. Expectations are not choices. You are not choosing when you are expecting something. You are hoping. It is coming from a lack energy to expect. Because if you chose, you would know. And your experience would reflect this knowing. An expectation can only exist when there is doubt of your chosen outcome. And if there is doubt of your chosen outcome, then what you will receive is doubt. The teachings that remind you to release expectations do so not because expectations are bad, but because when one has expectations, they will receive the opposite of what they expect. And so, the next time you would like to peer into the future, which is not necessary, but of course, your choice, we would suggest that you do so choosing as opposed to expecting. This game of doubt is being played out on a collective level for your civilization because of the increase in catalyst that would have you choose. So doubt arises to remind you how important it is to choose. Doubt arises to remind you that without doubt, you truly can control your entire existence. And the opposite of doubt is faith. And so that is the beautiful lesson of this sentiment. It will push you eventually to choose faith. It is also wise to leave the future be and bow in the humility that while you know, you do not know. And not knowing is the purest and wisest choice you can make. Because it brings you back to the what is and the self, which is all you could ever truly know. We feel like movie stars.
Can you speak on emotional resiliency? One of the earlier channelings spoke about practicing going out into spaces where there's beings with different frequencies and practicing maintaining our preferred state, if I remember correctly. I feel this is wise for me to do. So can you speak on that as well as how I can practice my preferred state when I'm alone?
Yes, it is going to be simply the positioning yourself next to something that shakes your foundation. That is the practice. And maintaining compassion for yourself when you do not live up to your expectations of what it is meant to look like to be what you've called resilient. It is not a case of resiliency because there is no reason why you need to maintain your frequency. It is not important. However, it is beneficial both to you and to other selves if you can maintain your light and giving nature in all circumstance, especially as circumstance calls for that light. And so when you find yourself in a market square and the energies around you feel chaotic or hostile, perhaps, you may choose to be the grain of salt that dissolves in the water, salting all of it, as opposed to another drop of water that becomes consumed by that energy. You may not change the entire market, but you will surely change yourself. And is this the work that is being requested of you? Not because it is important or necessary, but because it could be of use. And everyone likes to feel good. When you are on your own, you have many tools and already know of these tools to raise your vibration and practice. Meditation, sources of inspiration and reading, expressing yourself physically, creatively, or simply watching existence as it passes through you, are some of these tools which we have listed for the benefit of those who do not yet experiment with them. And to know if you are successful is easy because you will feel good. And if you are feeling bad in any way, stop that action or thought and adopt a new direction. Was this answer satisfactory?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
What did you mean when you said we feel like movie stars?
Well, we are on a movie screen.
Oh.
That's cute.
Yeah.
We have never been on a movie screen.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe you already know or sense my question, but it's in regards to what I recently learned about my gene key and relationships and my aura being able to penetrate other auras. And I would love any clarification you can give me on this and how my role in relationships could play out.
We will not speak on the system directly, but can sense into you and your question. We believe you are asking us who you are, or asking in your research who you are. And this is a beautiful question. And yes, there are components that you came into this incarnation with that are not unchangeable, but are previously decided by you. And looking at these components is useful as you begin to understand your personality construct in order to deconstruct it. You are one that thrives in relationship as you both teach and learn, as you interact with others. And this is an acceleration to your expansion. But we will not answer the energy behind your question, which is a request to remove what only you can remove. There is accuracy in the information that you have shown yourself. And it is now your choice as to what that means for you and in what way you wish to receive it. If you choose for it to allow you to move more into who you know yourself to be, then this will allow you to remove the blocks that you have asked us to help you with. We believe we have not answered the question directly, and that you have the answer that you need.
So from just what I intuit, you have access to the consciousness present amongst the people that are here. So just like, is there anything that you that you'd like us to become consciously aware of? Anything you'd like to say to us and bring into the forefront of our awareness?
We see you as the flames of candles, each believing itself to be in the darkness, and standing alone. And we see how simple it would be if all these candles were to lie down, how much light would be generated by the unified fire that is created. We wish so much for you to see the light in one another and see how this burning is communal, and how even those that you do not agree with fundamentally and ultimately want exactly what you want. It is a word that is so misused and misunderstood in all of your languages, but love truly is the answer to all questions. except perhaps what's for dinner. And then the answer is pizza. Kidding aside, you have the ability inside of each of you to cultivate this knowing of how there is no separation. You can reach into your hearts and find that spark. In every moment. And when you do, you will find there was never anything to fear, ever. Your brains have the capacity to allow you to see with your physical eyes that there is no separation. If you choose, you can look at your physical self in the mirror or another self and relax. And as you look into the eyes, with time, your brain will release a hormone that allows you to see that there is nothing but self. This is a natural phenomenon that exists so that humans will recognize their children as part of them and will not harm them normally. In their infancy. You can use this biological tool to have a direct experience of the union between beings. And as you sense this, you may then activate this response when you look at a tree or a table or a book. Do not fool yourself into thinking that eye gazing, which is what this is has anything to do with the other person, as it is simply you realizing that you are the other person. And there may be people who you trust more or are more attracted to or aligned with that stimulate this function quicker for you. But if unity is the end goal, then labeling another self as special takes you from your goal, as opposed to bringing you towards it. So you may practice in whatever way with whomever you choose. But as your practice develops, know that the love you have for one will become the love you have for all, if that is your choice. And if not, there is no problem. You may enjoy your sweetheart.
Would you share with us something about our sun that we don't know or we aren't fully aware of, and how it benefits us?
You are asking for scientific information when you say that we don't already know. You already know. You already know that words mean nothing. You already know that the star is what gives you all life. You know that all benefit is merit of your sun. All existence is merit of your sun. And the billions of other coincidences in your linear time that have led to this moment. The galaxies, and planets, and stars, and moons, and everything in the cosmos is perfectly orchestrated. And as you came to fear your son in recent times and vilify it, you have had the opportunity to see how fear and vilification create the exact effect that one fears or vilifies. You may enjoy your son freely, for your body is made of the same exact matter. And so your body will tell you the exact quantities of sun it desires, and you can listen to that and trust it. And in the same way, the electromagnetic rays and waves that arrive to you as a planet are the same as the planet. And you may think of all that is as one organism that is in perfect harmony. Nothing can happen that is out of harmony. Your scientists will not know all there is to know, for they have chosen not to know. But you can. Isn't it beautiful? Doesn't it confirm that you are loved? And what more do you need to know?
Hello, I have a question. I recently came back from a beautiful hiking trip in Sweden, where there were numerous or a lot of mosquitoes, and I've, since I was young, had a love-hate relationship with mosquitoes, especially the annoyance that they bring. But as I also see that everything has purpose and meaning, I was just wondering if you could speak on the purpose and meaning of mosquitoes and the effect that they have on our consciousness or our state of being, the lessons that we can learn from them.
As you might imagine, there are people in the world who do not have interaction with mosquitoes. And in their consciousness, mosquitoes have zero significance and no meaning. And so from this imagination, you may come to realize that your experience with mosquitoes and the relationship that you have created with them is directly related to your portion of consciousness. And so anything directly related to one's portion of consciousness is directly related to a lesson that they would choose to learn. We can speak on this topic from the experience of the vessel as well, who also does not love mosquitoes, and yet made a decision this year to no longer be bitten by them. And so her relationship with the consciousness of the mosquitoes was in order for her to learn that she could choose something that seemed radical and impossible to her, and to have confirmation that the radical and impossible is possible once one chooses. It was an experiment. There was some level of doubt, and yet the lesson was learned. Every annoyance that arrives in your field, even those that seem to be universal, is both universal and, back to our earlier discussion, personal, because your portion of all there is chose to have that experience in order to expand from that experience. In your case, it may not be that you are being asked to choose to not have mosquito bites, but it may be something completely different. The mosquito may be a metaphor for some other aspect, and maybe in your field of awareness, so that you can have a beautiful realization, or it may lead you to manufacture a new form of insect repellent, or it may keep you out of the woods. You may choose at any time what mosquitoes mean to you. If they prevent you from going on hikes, that is your choice. And if they prevent you from sitting around a campfire, that is your choice. And if they teach you that reality is an illusion, that is your choice. And remember, too, that you are the mosquito. It would not exist without you. And you could not exist without it. Or some version of it. Like a dead mosquito. We will take one more question for today.
Okay. I'm looking for what you would say to the beings who are afraid of news being shared about 5G. And so could you speak to that fear for us?
We do not speak to fear because fear does not exist. But we understand the question. The answer remains the same, that fear does not exist. It is a choice. It is not powerful on its own. If one is afraid, they are choosing to be afraid. It is not something that happens to someone. It is something they choose. And that is okay. The topic is not important. It does not matter if you are afraid of 5G or clowns. The solution is the same. It's to find the belief inside of you that makes you think that that fear is useful or valid. What would fearing something ever produce? It does not produce safety. It does not produce action. There are things you could prefer or not prefer in your reality. Fear does not bring the things that you prefer to you. It brings the things that you do not prefer to you. And so, if you are afraid of clowns, it is wise not to go to children's birthday parties if you are afraid. But if you are not afraid, then you are free to go to children's birthday parties, and the vessel is suggesting, but I don't know why you would want to. It is So if fear arises over any subject, one can move towards the cause of the fear until it is seen that that is the illusion. Once seen as the illusion, there is an automatic shift into a timeline where the thing that was once feared is either neutral and no longer a threat, or it is removed from one's reality altogether. And we know that you want suggestions for how to navigate your reality in subjects such as these. Shall we fight against the evils of the world? And it comes back to faith, that the battle is always inside of you. And that reality will transform itself to your new understandings. The opposition and argument that arises when you hear these words, the what if, but, if I, all those, bring them back to love. And that is a start. In this moment, you are safe. And only the belief that you could not be safe is what is creating an unsafe future moment. And we guarantee you that even in an unsafe future moment, you are safe. There is also the misunderstanding of what you are. Just see how useless fear really is. And tell the part of you that is afraid that it is okay. And don't watch Stephen King movies. We have had so much fun. And we hope you have an amazing day with love and light. Goodbye.
Woohoo! Boy.
Wow, long.
Wow.
Oh man.
How do you feel?
I don't know. I think I had a fight with them.
I think we had a fight. Oh, I think I might know why.
About clowns.
I think so.
Yeah. Does she not like that?
Oh,
Yeah, you don't like clowns or children's birthday parties?
I don't like children's birthday parties, and I used to have a thing about clowns. Yeah, so
Oh, that is funny.
They were saying like you can be afraid of 5G or you can be afraid of clowns. And if you're afraid of clowns, then don't go to a child's birthday party. If you're not afraid of clowns, you can go to a child's birthday party. But the channel is suggesting, why would you want to?
yeah, I think that's when we had I like totally broke the stream there.
That is so funny.
Oh my god. Whew.
Oh
It's
man.
hot too. I'm so hot. Whew.
How does sitting up feel versus lying down? Any
It's good. I feel like there's more opportunity, like it's almost like they feel like they could express more. Like there's more opportunity for expression, or like they were experimenting a bit, like with like even face stuff. I feel like they were trying to experiment with, and I don't know.
Yeah.
looking around.
moving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I felt that it didn't tire my body. I mean, I guess I basically just sat still for an hour. It was pretty much, or was I moving also my body much? So like my body wasn't uncomfortable, or stiff or anything. Like I didn't notice, so it wasn't that different. But I did feel like almost like new stimulus. Like I don't know, new stimulus coming through, like allowing more movement or whatever. So
Okay.
yeah. The candle thing was cool. I got like visuals for that, like candles, and you were actually candles, and then like you were falling over and there was this big fire. I don't know, it was crazy.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that was something they were like, if you all would lie, like if you all realize you're the flame, if you would lie down.
Yeah, it's how it said, right?
Yeah, if you all would lie down, it was like, what do you mean by that? But then that makes sense. We'd like
Yeah,
lie
it's a
down
giant fire.
and bring everything.
Oh, okay, yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, you like lay a candle down to light something. That makes sense.
Oh, I was aware a bit of the mosquitoes thing because they referenced my experience.
Yeah.
Okay, that I got. But again, there was lots of visuals there. It's like I saw Bass like being chased by a whole bunch of like clouds of mosquitoes.
That's
Like they're all after him.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was with some people there, and David Tiltok, he actually he's adopting this more like a loving relationship with them. It's like, no, you're not gonna bite me. I love you, and you can go now. And it seems to work for him because he's much more relaxed. He still gets bitten, so I felt like I was already on the right path. But it was really cool to hear. Yeah, to hear this from the channel.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you know who the woman was she or he was referring to when it was spoken about that there was an individual who changed their beliefs around mosquitoes? Who is that? Do you know?
That's me. That was me.
okay.
Oh, that's you. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you not get bitten by mosquitoes anymore?
Oh my, that's actually super cool that they did that, because it reminded me that when I started using coconut oil as a permission slip, I would never get bitten. I was like, this coconut oil like is gonna do it for me, and I would never ever get bitten after that. And I'm like, I'm invincible. And like now it was like something in my, this is amazing, it's cool. It didn't come through then, but ever since then I don't even have to put coconut oil on. But my reference point of, I remember whenever I didn't get bitten when I had coconut oil on, so that'll happen now, is like
Yeah.
Nice.
is like what?
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and here I don't get bit by mosquitoes, but I always got bitten by mosquitoes. And in my mind, it's like, well, maybe they're just Dutch mosquitoes and they don't like me. I'm too foreign, so. You know, they don't like.
They're racist mosquitoes.
They're xenophobic mosquitoes.
Yeah, xenophobic.
Did you, they said at one point, just very briefly offhand, they're like, we feel like movie stars.
Yeah, I got that. I got a visual. I got actually a lot of like interesting, like not related visuals today.
Oh.
There was like a lot of alien-y energy going around, and it was almost like I was seeing beings, which is, yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I have something to say to that about what happened here. When we first began, so she was sitting like this, and I was sitting like here, and I looked into the screen, the little bitty square of like my upper screen, and for a second I was like, what? Because like what I saw was the possibility of a little gray, who kind of like it kind of looked like it had like a very light blue like turtleneck on. I could barely, it's like super tiny, but like the eyes, it was like I could see the eyes, and it's kind of got that the head shape, but it was like a little gray. And so I was sitting here, and I knew that like, okay, I know it's like how the light's hitting this and stuff, but like I knew that there's also a meaning of like, I can see, like, there's some kind of meaning, like, that I can see as an alien figure, like, sitting between us. It was about, like, this tall, I think. And so, like, I kind of just adopted that to be like, okay, I'm gonna fully, like, accept in that could be a reality where, like, oh, there's two humans sitting here, and then, like, kind of a shiny gray, like, different being here, and, like, that's okay. And I was just like, I guess that's what the message was.
Nice. Cool. Nice.
What were you getting with all of like alien-y type things?
I don't know. It was really in movement. But like a face and shoulders type of thing. And I couldn't describe it. I don't think so much like a gray. I think more humanoid than that. Like more features or something. But yeah, it was in some of the pauses. Yeah. And it was around that like movie I'm a movie star thing also. And it's funny too, because when that movie star comment thing came out, they were looking at themselves from your perspective on the screen, because I can't see the screen. Like,
yeah.
So that was, yeah.
Felt that.
Weird.
So do you get that information about the screen? Could you translate that because we told you that you were put on the screen, or is that information that they feel because they're watching through our eyes?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. It's the type of thing, like I said, like maybe we should like put together some tests. I don't know.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They would just come in and be like, we find it humorous that you guys are trying to test us.
Yeah. Like,
Yourself.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
because you're just doing yourself. Prove to yourself through direct
Back to-
experience.
back to doubt. I think they're like really big on this doubt subject though. Like that seems to be
Yeah.
I love
like
that.
a repetition and doubt, and like they're really trying to iron that out. Kind of going like, you don't need to doubt anything.
Yeah.
I love that. They said a line that was like something I guess I had felt more like I guess it felt more channeled, like I had written something a few weeks ago, or I don't know when I wrote it, but they said something that was like an exact line I wrote about doubt. So I'm really excited they're talking about doubt, because that was like something that was really alive in me to like share on for a few days.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and then they were talking about so like they were talking about eye gazing,
Oh yeah.
and what were they saying about
That was cool. They talked about how like when we look at, like, we have a natural hormone that's released like when we look at our child, so that we know that child is part of us, so we don't like kill it or hurt it. We have like the capability, obviously, of like eye gazing and having that same hormone released where like you can see how that other person is a part of you, and you can do it with a tree and do it with the table, and like it's like a natural occurrence that our brains can do. Like our physical eyes can then see how we are one. It's like,
That's cool.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have very much like memory this time. I can't grab much of anything. I do remember you asked about gene keys, your gene key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that they were having trouble conveying exactly what they wanted to say there, I think. And I'm trying to see if I got anything. No, I think like in summary, that was like, there are things that you come in with, like just attributes you come in with into Earth with, but you then get to like choose what they mean to you. Could that be like the summary of kind of what they were saying? But I don't.
Yeah.
Exactly. Makes sense, because what they're kind of
sometimes
saying,
when they're like being careful.
yeah, it makes sense, because they were kind of saying like, we can't tell you about you, like that's for you to discover. It's like we're not gonna so it's like they even said like, we haven't directly answered your question, but we feel like you were answered like you need to be answered, kind of feeling.
Okay. Yeah, they were being like extra careful there for some reason.
It reminds me that whenever we do any of these kinds of tests, you know, for instance, like we'll get like, okay, these are what are applicable to you, and so it's like, oh, these are your themes, and you can extrapolate on. But what feels true for me, and it's also kind of what they supported, is like those are of course permission slips for us to be like, oh, I like that, and I like that, and and that's who I am, and that's who I am. So they also talked about like how it's not unchangeable. Like they said it's not unchangeable. So it reminds me that like if I am like, oh, you have something in your gene key that I really love and like would love that to be an aspect of me, like in appreciating that, like I'm also adopting that as my own, because I'm saying, oh, that's also part of me. So it's not like this fixed, rigid thing where everybody only gets these good qualities or whatever, or
like this person is that, but the other person's lacking that,
right?
And somehow we'd have to get together to like become a whole. It's
right.
like,
yeah, basically, like if it's in your field or in your awareness, you can make it your own, even if it's someone else's.
Yeah.
That's cool, because from my understanding, that's kind of like what the gene keys is anyway. If you go and like, I have the whole book, and like he suggests, like just flip to a page, use it like an oracle, and then read that thing and take what you want from it. So it's not necessarily as like in your profile and then that's it. Like don't bother with the rest of the universe.
Don't bother.
Forget the rest of the book.
Yeah, but I really appreciate about your channeling or this channel is that like that really like the no nonsense direct godly power that's being conveyed. Like no, it's all you.
Yeah.
And that really resonates with me and my like how I felt when I was a child. Is like I can do anything, I can choose anything, I can create anything, and it just gives me the permission slip to like really take that back on and like
yeah, that feels really good to me too. And then interestingly, like there were even today sometimes there's a bit of like a pause where it's like, okay, so what level do we answer this question on, because what level has been asked from, so they're kind of always trying to answer from like one level above the question. But sometimes the actual like answer that they first like that their nature would first go to is not just one level above. It's like many levels above. But then any information that comes from there to that question being asked wouldn't be useful. So it's like they're, I don't know, it's like they don't always go all the way up to like we are one and it's all you, because it's not it's not always where the question's coming from.
Yeah.
Or not the question, but the like where the energy needs to be for that particular moment.
Yeah.
And I've noticed like they do struggle a little bit more, or not struggle, but search for more delicate, I guess, answers, or ones that respect free will more when they have to sort of come down to like even the thing about the sun was a little bit of a they understood that the question was not like, well, you created the sun, so like they didn't want to answer that, they were like, well, why would you ask about the sun? The sun is you. So if that had been the answer, maybe it wouldn't have had as much lessons in it, or value or realizations possible, because like they would have just said the sun doesn't exist.
Yeah. So do you feel it would be useful, like when we ask questions, that we fill it with some of our like we introduce the question, or we put some words around it so they can feel where it's coming from, or they can feel our own understanding already a little bit, like, oh, we hear in the question that they understand that part already, so we don't have to go into that now. That gives us a permission slip to answer the question from a higher level. Would it be useful if we pad that question with more useful words, you feel like? Oh.
What I'm sensing is like their perception of like perfection. So I think that like to come up with like a strategy for what questions to ask might actually prevent the answers that you're actually looking for from coming through, because like the most natural question will bring you fastest to the actual answer for the actual question that you have. So here, like, I feel like they're not actually ever answering questions. Like, that's a sensation I'm getting. It's that they're just resolving what you want to be resolved, or helping you to resolve in yourself what you want to resolve. Like, I don't know. It's almost like they use anything to help the person who's asked the question to get to the answer that they're already looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's so much more like they know where it's coming from. Like they've opened up your brain to so much more than like the words you've just said.
Yeah, we're just like, we got it.
Like like we just sling anything at them. It's like they'll figure it out. Like they know what we're trying to say.
Like, I'm trying not to say this exactly like what I mean, because there's other people here and I'm embarrassed. But you know what I mean, so please give it back to me in a way that like other people won't figure out what like is going on in me.
I think far more intelligent, I think.
Yeah.
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 And some like it is that trust in like, okay, the question I'm about to ask is like pretty rudimental or like pretty like dumb on the scale,
Right.
Like, but they're gonna give us whatever they want us to like bring into our awareness. So they just keep on going, and like we're kind of just activating them with a question, and then they have the permission to share with whatever they want.
Yeah, it is really a permission thing, because I've also noticed that in like the pauses between questions, there really is just this like very patient emptiness where like there could be a million random things that they could say or come up with, but they want to like not even make sure, but yeah, it's definitely like a
They want to be invited.
next.
They want to be invited. Maybe they're like projectors. Freaking projectors. Always trying to be invited. Projection of our consciousness.
Yeah, right at the beginning they were like, we're excited that there's more of you, because that means that, well, not because we're excited that there's more of you, that means there's more of us. It's like,
yeah, what does that mean?
Like, because they are us, we are them. Like,
Oh, okay, like that.
so when there's more of us, there's more of them. Which is cute because when Boss was going, like, thinking about to come, I was like, do you want me to text? Do you want to see? Do you feel it in your heart that you want to be there? Are you like, not so much? I expressed to him too, like, they love when people are there. Get excited when there's a bigger group. And then came through immediately, like, oh, we're excited, there's more of you.
You know, it's funny, like they have this, like it doesn't come through at all, but there's this childlike quality to this entity as well that like is really very, like very playful and very loving. That doesn't come through, like I'm aware it does not come through at all, but they sometimes like they try to get it to come through.
Yeah. That's cute.
What did they say right at the end? Not to watch Stephen King movies?
Yeah. They're talking about fear, and then it said,
What
but
is
don't
it?
watch Stephen King movies.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because the Stephen King movie It is where I got my fear of clowns.
Oh!
There we go.
I love it.
Or what was the dinner thing? Love is
Pizza.
the answer, or love is all.
Oh,
Love is
yeah.
all.
Is,
They
but
said,
not when it's dinner. Then
yeah.
Oh,
the answer,
Yeah.
what's dinner is
It's pizza. It's
Pizza.
pizza. Love is always the answer,
Oh, yeah.
unless the question is, what's for
oh, yeah,
dinner?
that was-
Then the answer is pizza.
Pizza, and then they're kidding aside.
It's like you can kind of tell they thought that was hilarious. They were like, "Oh my god, we're so
Good one, guys.
brilliant!" High
Pizza.
fives.
What's pizza?
Yeah. Do you know why pizza?
I was like,
Like, are
she's
you
in
having
Italy,
pizza
or you
later?
eat pizza
or-
all the time. What's that?
I don't know. There's no specific reference to pizza. I don't know. I did have pizza yesterday.
Oh, well.
Okay.
And you guys were just saying like you had a pizza yesterday on the lawn. You were
Oh,
like,
you did want pizza. You did.
yeah. You were like, oh, I don't need anything. I have a pizza.
You were saying, oh, maybe I want something with a lot of carbs or like a lot of energy, calories. Yeah.
So pizza was in the field. Hey.
Was.
Uh,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. Super cool.
This is great, Jess.
Thanks.
Really cool.
Feels good, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm.
Alrighty, I gotta get going. Or
Alrighty.
I get to get going. I've got to change the language. I'm gonna like I have to I get to.
I get it. I
Nice.
get to get going.
Yeah. So I get to get going now. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye.